This is Dolynny TV, and ladies and gentlemen, this is another busy day in oil country as well. Oh my goodness. We've had Leon Draisaitl news. We've had, I'm sure, some training camp news. You've heard about the news about that July 28th thing going on there against the Calgary Flames. Yeah, maybe you've heard about that. But all said, we got to get on with the first news of the day, which came down the pipe very early on about Leon Draisaitl being named a finalist, and a first-time finalist at that, for the Ted Lindsay Award. So I will read you the press release here from the EdmontonOilers.com website. The Oilers forward does join Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche and Artemi Panarin of the New York Rangers on that list, the three-player finalist list. And the National Hockey League's Players Association, the NHLPA, announced today that Oilers forward Leon Draisaitl is one of three finalists for the 2019-2020 Ted Lindsay Award, along with MacKinnon and Panarin, which we've already talked about. And realistically, right, when you talk about a group of guys to win the Hart, this is the group of guys we've debated all spring and summer long. So this should come as absolutely zero surprise to anyone that these are the three on the list, and it is to zero surprise that the Edmonton Oilers have Leon Draisaitl on this list specifically. Now, there was an outside shot that Connor McDavid would be on this list, as the players do love them some Connor McDavid, as shown by multiple polls throughout every season that Connor McDavid's been in the league. But this is going to guys that have been absolutely outstanding. And I mean, again, same thing as the word valuable. You can kind of debate 100% what it means, or 90% what it means, or 96. You want to throw some kind of weird number in there, but you know what? We know what it is. The Ted Lindsay Award, formerly known as the Lester B. Pearson Award, is presented annually to the most outstanding player during the NHL regular season, as voted by fellow members of the NHLPA. Draisaitl, a first-time, as I mentioned, finalist for the award, played in all 71 of Edmonton's regular season games as he helped lead the Oilers to the fifth best points percentage in the Western Conference. Wins, losses, points, it don't mean anything. The only number that means anything at this point now in the season is points percentage math. But there you go. That's how we're calculating how good the Oilers were this year, all right? The 24-year-old forward topped all scorers with 110 points, becoming the first German-born player to win the Art Ross. Draisaitl also led the NHL in points per game, assists, power play points, average ice time among forwards, while tied for first in game-winning goals. He also finished second in both even strength points, power play goals, and placed fourth in goals, 43 on the year this season. I don't need to run you those numbers. We've talked about those numbers 2, 3, 4 times just for content here during pause COVID season. We're in a training camp. You don't need to hear those. You need to hear what Leon Draisaitl is going to do in the playoffs. This is kind of finally putting the bow on top of what he's done already to this point. Draisaitl is looking to win this as a first-time winner, as well as the first German recipient of the Ted Lindsay Award, and fellow teammate Connor McDavid's back-to-back awards, 16, 17, 17-18, to give the Oilers 3 of the last 4 names on the trophy. And as is said, this is the only trophy voted on by the players themselves. And realistically, it carries on the tradition established with the Lester B. Pearson, reintroduced in 2009 as the Ted Lindsay. And you know what? The recipient will be announced during the Stanley Cup playoffs conference finals. Exact date to be decided. Can I make up my mind where I'm going? Not really. So, ladies and gentlemen, end of the day, you know what? Like I said it a few minutes ago, is simply put, this is putting the bow on what Leon Draisaitl's done already, but it's going to be interesting to see what Leon Draisaitl does in the playoffs. If you go do a little bit of history, if you do, the hockey history on hockeyreference.com and go to Leon Draisaitl's page, you'll learn a little bit something about Leon that's a little special in comparison to a lot of our other players from the playoff run that year is the fact that Leon Draisaitl had an absolutely outstanding playoffs that year. He was a monster that year in the playoffs, and it really shows as I can't seem to find where's the stats here. Where's Leon Draisaitl's playoff stats? There you go. 16 points in 13 games played. And you can list Leon Draisaitl as a top tier playmaker, top tier goal scorer, top tier leader now after this season, top tier penalty killer when given the chance. Leon Draisaitl is everything that an outstanding player or the most outstanding player to his fellow peers in the NHL should be and is. My goodness. Guy needs to get a cup of water before I record the video about the Calgary Flames exhibition game, I'll tell you that much. But end of the day, right? This is the bow. This is great. This is good. We'll find out everything we need to know in the conference finals when it comes down to that time in early September. And then, you know what? Hopefully, and I mean the Oilers should be still in the playoff hunt at that point. And then, ladies and gentlemen, Leon Draisaitl goes on to win the Ted Lindsay, wins the Hart as well, and then wins the Stanley Cup at the end of the month or just a week into the next month. How perfect would that be? You know what? Honestly, you can talk about this being the bow, and this is kind of my catchphrase for this whole video, but end of the day, the award and the Hart, pretty meaningless. The season, gone. What will matter the most when it comes down to Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, whoever you want to say, on the Edmonton Oilers, it is the Stanley Cup. Obviously, yes, we have what we're doing it for. We skate for Colby, all that. But end of the day, the trophy at the end of this tunnel, right? You're going into the bubble for a reason. You're not going into the bubble just to say, hey, you know what? A lot of other people went into COVID bubbles, and I kind of did back home in Ontario or back home in Alberta or over in Sweden. But hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come back to Edmonton, Alberta, go into the bubble for 5 weeks just for something to do with a whole bunch of other guys. Straight up, that's my plan. I'm just going to hang out with the boys in the NHL in the Western Conference. Only 12 of the 15 or 12 of the 15 teams. And we're just going to have a good time. You know, play some hockey. No, you're playing for the Stanley Cup, right? Obviously. So that's the big cherry on top. Right now, this is the bow on Leon Draisaitl's regular season. The Hart Trophy is obviously the recognition for that regular season. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the cherry on top, the Stanley Cup in late September, early October. And you talk about that. What kind of season would that be to have the league's MVP, the Hart Trophy winner, the Ted Lindsay Award winner, and a Stanley Cup champion on your team, and his name's not Connor McDavid? I don't think back in 16-17 anybody would have been saying, oh my goodness, you know what, when we make the playoffs again, Leon Draisaitl's going to be the guy that is the one that got all the spotlight. Now, I mean, Connor McDavid's always going to get the spotlight. We've had this debate. Connor McDavid is the face of the NHL. Connor McDavid is the captain of the Edmonton Oilers. But Leon Draisaitl is slowly fighting into that spotlight for the face of the Edmonton Oilers and letting Connor focus more so on his roles as an NHL ambassador as opposed to a straight up just Oilers player. And that's fine, fantastic and all. But straight up, 16-17. But I'll leave you on here in the comments section what I want to hear from you as you hit that subscribe button and scroll down just a little bit more is I want to hear in 16-17 when we made our run, would you have said when we lost game 7 against the Ducks, would you have said in that moment 5 minutes after the game, next time the Oilers win the cup, next time the Oilers make the playoffs, whatever you want to say, Leon Draisaitl is the one that'll be leading the charge, right? Obviously winning the Hart Trophy, winning the Ted Lindsay, and winning the Stanley Cup. And there's Connor McDavid, kinda, sorta, riding shotgun. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And of course, what I want to throw out here again, because all of a sudden the NHL announces it's back, and you guys are back in force here on the channel. I want to say these 4 videos that pop up at the end of every single video, make sure to click on one because I think there's a best for viewer and there's a most recent and there's some other stuff. The best for viewer, I'd be really interested just to kind of see what that's suggesting to you. And maybe you don't even have to click on it. Just tell me, is it suggesting Oilers or is it suggesting the wacky stuff I did on YouTube before the Oilers stuff? You let me know. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for spending the early part of your afternoon with me. We'll talk in a few minutes here about the Oilers' July 28th date with the Calgary Flames. I'm up on out of here.